If you want to read someone, then look at the legs. Legs are considered to be the most honest part of our body. Long before humans spoke, our legs have reacted to environmental threats instantaneously without the need of conscious thought. Happy feet. Happy feet is related to comfort and confident display. It's usual wiggling and bouncing of legs with joy. But even wiggling and jiggling and kicking, shaking of legs are related to nervousness and impatience. It all boils down to looking at context. Always look out for more non-verbal behaviors that will point to the same conclusion. You can basically rely on one single behavior and be drawing out conclusions. You gotta search for more behaviors that point to similar conclusion to back up your assumption. Example, in case of footlock, if an individual locks his feet around chair's legs and moves his hand along his legs, the footlock is a freeze response, a discomfort behavior, and leg rubbing is a pacifying behavior. These two back up each other, which might indicate the individual fears something he has done will be found out, and he is experiencing stress because of this. Let's say you're approaching two people engaged in a conversation and say hi to one of them, and if they admit you while their feet and toes are both facing you, you're welcome. But if only toes are facing you and foot facing another direction, then it would be better to leave them alone. We tend to turn away from the things we don't like, but doesn't completely mean that. This could also indicate the person has to leave and wants to be somewhere else, or simply you could be interrupting them in the midst of their work. The knee clasp. Moving on to the knee clasp, this indicates the person wants to get up and leave. Take a look if a person who is sitting down places both of his hands on his knees, then shifts his weight to the edge of the chair and leans forward. This clearly indicates the person is ready to conclude and take a leave. Gravity-defying behaviors of foot. These behaviors are associated with high comfort and confidence levels. Now when it comes to legs, the heel of the foot is remained on the ground, but his rest of the foot is moved up as if it is pointing towards the sky. This means the person is in a good mood. Starter's position. This is an action in which a person moves his feet from a resting position to a position with heel elevated and weight on the balls of the feet. This is an intention cue that the person wants to do something requiring foot movement. It could mean that he is really interested in you or wants to leave. Leg splays. Leg splays are territorial displays, which means when people find themselves in confrontational situations, their feet and legs get splayed out, not only for greater balance but for more territory. When two people face off each other in disagreement, you will never see the legs crossed. If you observe a person's feet going from being together to being spread apart, you can be sure that the individual is becoming unhappy. This dominant stand clearly indicates that something is wrong and I'm ready to deal with it. Our limbic brain usually lets us guard down or on the people we like. Example, leg crossing. When you cross one leg in front of each other while standing, you reduce your balance significantly. Leg crossing is considered to be a comfort behavior. We often cross our legs around the people we like or when we are confident. Seated legs. When people sit side by side, then the direction of one leg crosses becomes significant. If they are on good terms, the top leg crossed over will point towards the other person. If a person doesn't like a topic his companion brings up, he will switch the position of his legs so that the thigh becomes a barrier. When people are under stress, they often interlock their feet and ankles. This footlock also indicates that he is insecure, anxious, and feels threatened. Look out for an individual who suddenly interlocks his legs when you cannot change the subject or bring up a topic he doesn't like. When people are comfortable, they tend to unlock their ankles. Locking your ankles in this way for a prolonged period is unnatural, and it is done by someone who is involved in a crime scene, and that person should be considered as a suspect. Interlocking of ankles around the legs of a chair is another freeze response, with enough research showing people tend to restrict arm and leg movement when lying. Again, lack of movement is not itself indicative of deception. It's indicative of self-restraint and caution, which both nervous and lying individuals utilize to assuage their concerns. Moving on to the upper body, we have torso. Torso leans. When an individual is standing next to someone who's being obnoxious or doesn't like, his torsos will lean away from that individual. Not only do we lean away from the people who make us uncomfortable, we may also turn slightly by degrees from that which doesn't appeal to us. People lean toward each other when there is high comfort and agreement. Ventral denial and ventral fronting. Our ventral side, which is the front side of our body where eyes, mouth, chest are located, is very sensitive to the things we like and dislike. When things are good, we expose our ventral sides toward what we favor, including these people who make us feel good. But when things go wrong, like when topics are discussed that we disfavor, we'll engage in ventral denial by shifting or turning away. Most commonly, you can see ventral denial or exposure happen all the time in board meetings. Colleagues who share a similar point of view will sit closer together, turn more toward each other ventrally. When people disagree, they hold their bodies firm and avoid ventral fronting and will most likely lean away from each other. The torso shield. When it's socially unacceptable to lean away from something or someone we dislike, we often subconsciously use our arms or objects to act as barriers. A sudden crossing of arms during a conversation could indicate discomfort. Women tend to cover their torsos more than men. A woman may cross her arms over her stomach. She may cross one arm across her front and grab the opposite arm at elbow, forming a barrier to protect her chest. Arms intertwined across the front is a comfortable pose for many people. If, however, a person suddenly crosses arms and then interlocks them tightly with a tight hand grip, this is an indication of discomfort. Preening. When we are physically or mentally well, we take care of our appearance, preening and grooming. But when the brain is saddened or we are ill, preening and the presentations are the first things to go down. When a person is really sick or really traumatized, the brain has other priorities and preening is simply not one of them. Within context, we can use an oral lack of personal hygiene to make assumptions about a person's state of mind or state of health. Torso splays. Splaying on a couch or a chair is normally a sign of comfort. However, when discussing serious issues, splaying out is a territorial or dominance display. This play behavior is common in teenagers who often get scolded by their parents. If you have a child who does this every time, then he is in serious trouble. You gotta stop your child from doing it. If you allow your child to get away with torso splays during major disagreements, don't be surprised if he or she loses respect for you. In any case, if you got into an argument with someone and he or she takes off a hat, shirt, or any other article of clothing, most likely a fight is in the offing. Breathing behavior and torso. When a person is under stress, the chest may expand and contract rapidly. This happens when the limbic system is aroused or engaged in a fight or flight response. The body attempts to take as much oxygen as possible by either taking deep breaths or panting. When you see this in a healthy person, you gotta ask yourself why he is so stressed. Shoulder shrugs. Expect people to give high and full shoulder shrugs when they confidently support what they're saying. When someone says, "I don't know," while both shoulders raised equally and sharply, he's being affirmative. And what he says synchronizes with his limbic reactions. If you see a person's shoulders only partially rise, or if only one shoulder rises, chances are the individual is not limbically committed to what he said. Turtleneck effect. If a person slowly moves his shoulder up and tries to hide his head, just like a turtle does, then you can be fairly confident that he is very uncomfortable. This is a freeze response. This is one of the most important nonverbal behavior you don't want to miss out. If this particularly occurs in a child around a particular adult, you gotta consider it and take action. It could sometimes even indicate abuse. You gotta take this turtleneck effect seriously if it frequently occurs or occurs when you gotta change the subject. Behavior of hands. Arm withdrawal. When we are upset or fearful, we withdraw our arms. When we are injured, threatened, abused, or worried, our arms come straight to our sides or they close across our chest, sometimes across abdomen. Restriction of arm movement. Restriction of arm movement is a freeze response. When it occurs in children, can sometimes have more sinister implications. Children might restrict arm movement around an abusive parent. This makes sense as predators orient toward movement caused by other animals and therefore to protect themselves they exhibit freeze response, and now in this case it's by restricting arm movement. There are certain arm behaviors display the message, "Don't come close to me, you aren't worthy enough to touch me." The next one on our list is regal stance. This is done by putting the arms behind the back. You can see the royalty or higher status people using this to keep people at distance. Confident displays of arms. High status people or confident people claim more territory than less confident or lower status person does. If you're new to an organization, watch out for those individuals who claim more territory by either using their arms or their personal objects. So use this and try to assess individuals' real or perceived status. And one of the clear confident display or territorial displays is arms akimbo. Arms akimbo is used to establish authority or dominance. This nonverbal behavior involves a person extending both arms out in a V pattern with hands placed on the hips and thumb facing backward direction. For women, arms akimbo can be very helpful, like it can be used when female executives are confronting males in boardrooms. It is an effective way for anyone, especially a woman, to demonstrate that she is strong, confident, and unwilling to be bullied. There are times when young women are bullied non-verbally by males who insist on talking to them with arms akimbo. By either copying this behavior or using it first, you'll display the message, I'm not weak and I'm standing my ground. There's not only arms akimbo with thumb facing backward direction, but also thumb facing forward direction. It is often seen when people are inquisitive yet concerned. You can call it curious arms akimbo. They may approach with curious arms akimbo and then rotate their hands to establish a more dominant stance if needed. Another territorial display similar to arms akimbo is hooding effect. It can often be seen during business meetings and other seated social encounters. When a person leans back and interlaces his hand behind his head, displays the message, I'm in charge here. It's called hooding effect because it resembles the way cobra hoots to alert other animals of its dominance and power. Steepling. Steepling of hand is a sign of confidence, fingertip to fingertip. It is one of the most powerful displays of confidence we possess. Another one is thumb sticking out of pocket. It is considered to be a confident display. Mostly it is done by high-status individuals. It is done by placing all four fingers inside the pocket except thumb. Fingertips planted spread across the surface is a display of confidence. Moving on to the next one, we have thumbs up. Generally, interlacing of fingers is a low confident gesture, except when the thumb is extended straight up. This is also a gravity-defying behavior. Finally, we have rogatory or palms up. This palms up position usually indicates the person wants to be believed or wants to be accepted. It is a confident display. Arm spread behavior. We can see individuals sometimes use the arms simultaneously to emphasize a point, and in the process of that, they claim more territory. This happens frequently during interactions when people are in disagreement over an issue. Arm spread behavior is also seen in people who are telling the truth. This behavior conveys the message, I'm confident in what I'm saying. It's a powerful limbic response employed to establish dominance and emphasize a person's point of view. Fingertips planted spread apart over a surface is a display of confidence and authority. And other one, arms spread out over chairs, tells that you are feeling confident and comfortable. Note how quickly someone who is played out over several times will withdraw his arms when questioned about something that makes him feel uncomfortable. Discomfort behavior of hands. Sweaty hands. Many of the people make assumptions of sweaty hands as deception, but it's not. Sweaty hands are due to nervousness and anxiety. Sweaty hands doesn't translate to that the person is lying. Nail biting. Nail biting is generally perceived as a sign of nervousness and insecurity. Quivering of hands. When the limbic brain is aroused or you are stressed and nervous, it surges neurotransmitters and hormones such as adrenaline cause uncontrollable quivering or shaking of hands. This shaking behavior is noticeable when a person is holding elongated objects such as a pencil or a cigarette. But positive emotion can also cause our hands to shake. When we are genuinely excited, our hands will quiver, sometimes uncontrollably. You must first determine whether shaky hands are due to happiness or nervousness by putting the behavior in context, by examining the circumstances in which it has occurred. If shaky hands are followed by pacifying behaviors such as neck touching or pressing the lips together, then you can be fairly confident that it has occurred due to nervousness or fear. Hand wringing. Interlacing of fingers as shown in the picture is an example of hand wringing. It usually indicates the person is stressed and is lacking confidence. Hiding of thumbs or thumbs in the pocket. This indicates low status and confidence. Try to avoid this behavior as much as you can. Another hiding of thumbs behavior is interlacing of fingers, but notice that thumb is not extended straight up. It is the opposite of thumbs up behavior that we have discussed earlier. And the final one is stroking of fingers. We often stroke our fingers across the palm or rubbing our hands together when we are stressed and nervous, and it is a pacifying behavior. Moving on to the face. Negative or discomfort emotions manifest on our face simultaneously, and before we notice them, they are gone, so they're subtle. You need to pay extra attention to face if you want to catch those nonverbals of face. Mostly, genuine and unrestrained feelings of happiness are manifested on face and neck. Positive emotions are revealed by the loosening of furrowed lines on forehead, relaxation of muscles around the mouth, uncompressed or full lips, and widening of the eye area. When we are truly relaxed, our facial muscles will relax and head will tilt to side, exposing our most vulnerable area, neck. Positive and negative emotional displays of face, squinting, furrowing of forehead, and tightening of jaw muscles are indicative of discomfort and distress. Head tilting. We tilt our heads only around the people we like. It is very difficult to do this around the people we don't like. Dilation of pupils. Research has shown that emotions do cause our pupils to dilate and constrict. When we like something we see, our pupils dilate. When we don't, they constrict. We have no conscious control of our pupils. They dilate and constrict based upon external stimuli and internal stimuli. The internal stimuli refers to thoughts. Squinting. We squint our eyes when we are angry or even when we hear voices, sounds or music we don't like. We also sometimes squint our eyes around the people we don't like, and squinting can be a very brief, 1/8 of a second, so always pay close attention. Eye blocking behaviors. Rubbing of the eyes, shutting of the eyelids very tightly, delay in opening of eyes, a brief touch of eyes during a conversation, or sudden closing of eyes upon hearing or seeing something that we don't like. All these are eye blocking behaviors. All these are indicative of discomfort and negative emotions. Eye flash. When we are comfortable, our eyes are relaxed and show no tension, and if this is followed by arching of eyebrows, then it is a sure sign of positive feelings, as arching of eyebrows is a gravity-defying behavior. In other words, a comfort display. When we see something we like or someone we like, we tend to expand our eyes to make them as big as possible. This is called flashbulb eyes. Eye blinking behavior. Our blink rate increases when we are aroused, troubled and nervous, and it returns to normal when we are relaxed. Sudden change in blink rate during conversation could indicate stress and discomfort, and you should immediately change the topic. Moving on to the lips, we have lip compression. It's usually disappearance of lips. When we are anxious or stressed out, the lips will begin to disappear and tighten. You gotta take this seriously if the lips completely disappear and the corners of the mouth turn down. This means confidence is very low, while stress and discomfort emotions are very high. Pursing of lips. We pursue our lips when we are in disagreement with something or someone. Lip licking. It is a pacifying behavior that tends to soothe and calm us down. Crinkling of nose. We crinkle our nose to indicate dislike or disgust. When confidence is low or we are concerned for ourselves, the chin will tucking, forcing the nose down. When we feel positive, the chin comes up and nose is high. This indicates confidence and comfort. It is also a gravity-defying behavior. And here are some final words for you guys to remember. Remember to always look out for a cluster of behaviors, or look out for multiple behaviors to solidify your observation. Number 2. Don't jump into conclusions. What I mean by that is that never mark a person as being deceptive or a liar based upon the nonverbals you see. For those who watch till the end, here is a bonus tip for you guys. When you are giving a speech or generally talking to a friend or a stranger, use your hands to emphasize your point. Using of hands can speak louder than your words. If you wish to become a persuasive speaker, attempt to become more expressive in use of your hand movements. And more often you should use steepling. Steepling of hands is a powerful sign of confidence and self-assurance. Steepling is a very useful behavior to adopt. Salespeople and speakers should use it more often for emphasis. And that's it, my friends. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, then give it a like and subscribe to my channel.